the popularity stakes in other countries as well. It's the Sugarcubes. Hi there, how are you doing?
We're doing okay.
Welcome to MTV.
Thank you.
We're about to play a song of yours called Deos.
Yep.
Deos is Latin, you're from Iceland, you sing in English. Isn't this a little bit confusing?
Not if we are ardent students of Hungarian folk music.
Tell me more.
I don't know. That was just a quote I read of the autocue.
I see. Can I see that quote? No, I can't see it there. So you're students of Hungarian folk music?
Gregorian chanting from Hungary.
I see. And how does that fit in with Deos?
It doesn't really fit in. Nothing fits together.
We're just doing what we're doing. It doesn't really matter what language it is, does it?
Sure. What's Deos all about?
Well, it's about theirs, which isn't.
It's about this guy called Deus.
And it's a whole song about us saying that somebody
Doesn't exist.
He isn't.
But if he did, he would have a quiff.
Okay.
So it's a good example about a band spending 3 minutes in talking about something that doesn't exist.
Where did the
time.
Where did the idea for the song come from? Was it one of yours, or did you work it together?
I'm guilty.
Tell me, York.
Well, it's just... I don't know where I should start, because probably if I would start, I would talk for hours. But it's about this thing that's this European picture that has been painted for us for like 500 years or something, about this sterile god up in the sky who's very kind and just very, very nice. And how ridiculous it seems that he was supposed to be able to create the whole world. And it seems to me that if somebody would be able to create the whole world, he would be like sort of very lively and very fertile and very happy and very energetic and things like that. But, well, I better stop now.
Thank you. Well, let's see it and hear it. That was Deos from the Sugarcubes. Now, not too many of our guests on MTV come from Iceland. I can say that again.
Hope not.
Do musicians in your country have problems that, say, they wouldn't have elsewhere? I mean, is it a tough place to be a musician?
Yeah, there is a definite shortage of rehearsal places, and then equipment is quite expensive, and so you get into problems which you could solve easily if you lived somewhere else.
Yeah, like we mostly put on our own gigs. There's not many like places to play, clubs or things like that. It's mostly like ballrooms with house bands, things like that.
Is there a fairly healthy local music scene, or is it mainly British American music that you get?
No, it's you know, in many ways healthy. There are loads of bands there at the moment. It comes and goes in waves. And I would say it was nearly healthy, nearly sound.
Of course it's under influence from what's going on here and well, in Britain and in the States, but also it has got a lot of originality, which is only sort of Icelandic. You wouldn't be able to follow it.
Or understand the lyrics.
Fair enough. Do you think your music has got a particularly Icelandic feel about it?
Well, most Icelanders find us weird, and they think we're very foreign.
Okay.
Yeah, and people here think we're Icelandic. I wonder where we're from.
Yeah, like we're not a basic chart band there.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Greetings, Earthlings. Me no harm to your planet.
Well, you're like on MTV now, which is very much a part of, here we go, world music.
Yes.
Is it a necessary evil, do you think, to be on MTV? Or what do you think of MTV?
We don't get it in Iceland.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, so you don't know what it's all going to look like in the end?
No, that's the best thing about it. That, we don't usually see what's being written about us and things like that, but possibly 2 or 3 weeks later, and some shows we will not see or hear because we're not present. So it's very healthy for us not to see ourselves too much on radio or television or in the papers, because then we're unaware what's happening around us.
We probably won't see this program.
Well, what about the videos then that you make? I mean, do you get a chance to see, I mean, are they shown on Icelandic TV or are they...
Yeah, they're crying out loud for videos made by us because we've sort of reached a standard in Iceland that everybody thinks we're very famous. So they want the videos being shown, but we're not particularly keen on having them shown.
Why is that?
I don't know, we just decided we weren't particularly keen on it. No reason. We've got no reason at all.
Well, be that as it may, we're going to see one now. No, in fact, we're not. We're not going to see one now, but we are going to see a new video from Natalie Cole. But don't go away, because we'll be back with the Sugarcubes shortly. You got Expo with me and the Sugarcubes. Okay, if we had a lottery, say, and I was to ask you what bands, what musicians in like the whole of the musical spectrum that you guys would like to gig with the most, who would it be? Who would you choose?
I would go for Pachelbel, an organ player, and Johann Sebastian Bach.
Yeah?
Former organ player.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. I would... she asked me to be next.
Oh, okay.
I have to think.
She has to think on this. I would gig with... Let's see. Yusunudur, for instance. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah?
And Nusrat Fatih Ali Khan is a lot of fun too. That sums it up, more or less.
I would like to gig not with exactly a musician. It would be more exciting with, for example, there are two ladies. I think one of them is dead and one of them, the other one is old. One is called Sonja Heine and was a Norwegian skate queen. Mm-hmm. And one is Martha Graham. She is a dancer.
Sure. Would you say that...
She's a painter.
Well, you don't have very much.
She could paint while you were singing or dancing.
But she didn't work very fast.
Would you say that some of these people have been your influences then, like Bach?
Yes, definitely.
Who else? Do you model yourselves on anyone, or is it particularly just from all your past interests?
I don't know anyone. I'm not any one special.
Yeah. We don't have any specific role models as such. We try to be our own.
Okay. I hear you're about to sign with Elektra in the States.
Yes.
Is this, is there a reason for this from changing? Because you've always been known to be fiercely independent and fully independent labels.
We are, but the States, they are just so big. And I'm only 180 meters high. And I can cope with Iceland and Britain, but I can't cope alone with the States, so...
Working with an independent label is such a personal thing. You can take part of it if you live in the country, or if you work with people like One Little Indian, who can take care of that in Iceland, in England. Mm-hmm. We know the people in One Little Indian personally, they're our friends. But having worries if a record can go from a factory into a record shop in Oklahoma or something, it's just something you shouldn't be worried about. I mean, there are other things that are more important.
We basically want a very good distribution of our records overall, and we strive for that. But we want to be in control of what we do.
Is there a danger that you, in changing to say, or moving with a big label, that your music's going to be compromised?
No, we're not moving in with a big label. We're still with One Little Indian, and so we're not signing, like we weren't. The Sugarcubes weren't formed to be able to get a record contract, because we've always been able to put out our records. So it wasn't a dream of ours that one day we might be signed by a major. That's not the case. We didn't go to them, they came to us. So we said, okay, Jack.
We'll take you on.
Yeah.
We still make our records just like we want them to be, and it's more like then Elektra takes them and distributes them in the States. It's more like that, because...
And we work with them over there.
Okay.
And hopefully they don't work for us. And we won't work for them. We'll work all together.
Okay, well, we've seen your third single. We're now going to see your second single, Cold Sweat. Hi there, this is X-Pip on Expo, and we've got the Sugarcubes with us today. Well, not only are you guys respected musically, but you're also highly respected in your country as poets. Is there much of a difference between writing poetry for you and writing lyrics, say, for your songs?
Well, the official poets of the band, they're not with us today. The three, they are back in Iceland, so...
The other half of the band, the
Poetry division.
The poetry division is in the library studying for the next great big literary Nobel Prize.
I see. I see.
So the difference is, I don't know what the difference is between what we do and they do. Possibly that we don't want to sing poems.
Are you all involved in writing the lyrics for the songs, or is it just those three literary masters back home?
No.
Most of the lyrics, I write mine, what I say, and he writes what he says. So sort of this poetic thing is sort of separate from the Sugarcubes, really. Well, there's this company that the Sugarcubes have and other people called Bad Taste. They publish the books, their poetry books. And of course, well, it's really quite separate thing.
Okay.
Their poetry and they playing in the band.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you is the music press in Britain particularly have fallen over themselves trying to give you good coverage. You know, there's articles in Melody Maker, seems like every month last year you were featured. I mean, how do you cope with this? Do you feel you have to live up to this extraordinarily high praise that's been given you?
No, because...
It doesn't change. It doesn't change anything that we do. It doesn't change us or the way we
It's them that writes it. It's not us that is writing it.
So you
writing it. I mean, this has nothing to do with us. We look at it and say, oh, the Sugarcubes. And it takes a few seconds for us to click that it's us.
It's just, you must understand that us living in Iceland, not even getting these papers, it's like somebody, if you would get news about that somebody on the planet Jupiter liked you very much. And people were all going gaga because of you there. All right, you go to Jupiter once in a while and you meet the people, but you always know that you can go back home and continue being sane.
Sure.
So it's a bit, you just don't just don't manage to mix these two pictures together, you in the papers and you yourself. It's a very huge gap between somehow.
They seem to have picked you out as a feature a lot of the time. How do you feel about that? I mean, because you're very much together as a band. I mean, I don't see you as being particularly separate, but the papers seem to want to do that.
Well, they need something. Possibly they've got so small minds that they can't cope with more than one person at a time. But we've got a little bit bigger minds. I'm not saying brains, but so we can cope with the idea of 6 people together, but they can't.
It's something to do with just simplifying the media, how it has to work so quickly and people have to just swallow everything so quickly and not even digesting it. It seems to be easier for them to see that Sugarcubes are 1 person and 5 servants than just sort of 6-piece band which everybody work together.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a bit of a misconception.
I mean, it
seems to happen very often.
From our point of view, it's their problem, not ours.
Okay, well, don't go away, because we'll be back with the Sugarcubes. Right now, it's Son of Bob, Ziggy Marley. Hi, you're on Expo, and if you've been watching before, you will know that we've got Sugarcubes in the studio with us today. Now, Björk, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I believe you've got a rune tattooed on your arm somewhere.
Yes.
What exactly is a rune, for those who don't know?
Well, this particularly rune is an old magic rune from Iceland, which is probably like 1,000 years old or something. And it's called Pathfinder, and it means that if you're traveling, and you won't get lost, even though it becomes foggy. And well, it maybe doesn't fit exactly to 1988, but it's sort of more sort of symbolic.
So you wanted to have that tattooed so that it'd be there all the time?
Yes. Well, I decided it many years ago, but I hvar sjá eftir?
Regret.
I haven't regretted any still yet.
Well, is it rune is sort of part of a magic
No, runes used to be the old alphabet before we got the Arabic letters. So in old Iceland they used to write, you know.
Before they turned Arabic.
Yeah, before Iceland turned Arabic. We used to write in our own runes, and we can possibly blame the Turks for that because they invaded Iceland in the 17th century.
Okay.
1427.
Oh, 1427.
Right, got it. History lesson.
Yes.
Number one.
Always with the Sugarcubes. Never mind, we know it all.
Would you say that you're religious people? I mean, I know you've talked about Deus in one song.
Religious people.
Well, we believe in things.
In what sense? I mean,
We
I believe
believe
in a
in.
lot of things.
Who doesn't?
I believe in him, and he believes in me, and she believes in us, and we believe in her. And
We believe in Bragi, and we believe in Thor, and we believe in Einar, and we believe in a lot of things. We might even start believing you.
Oh,
no,
no.
believe in you.
I was meaning in the sense of religious in the terms of you're searching for something, maybe.
No,
maybe
we're not hung up on religion or trying to find, you know, the truth. There is no truth for
but
us.
we're curious,
We're curious.
in essence.
Yeah.
But really the final conclusion is what we're really after is just sort of fun.
Is that the essence of the Sugarcubes?
Yeah, fun, hopefully. We
Yeah.
can start enjoying ourselves and not get too bothered by all this hula baloo.
The minute we're not enjoying ourselves, we know that something is wrong.
Fair enough. Well, the song that got us all into the Sugarcubes, Birthday. Hi, MTV, time with the Sugarcubes, just about time to say goodbye. Now look, we've seen a few of your videos, what your performance is like in videos, but what about live? Could you go live, like now?
Life, yeah. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, everybody sing. Mellutna dansi í hring. Hey, kokkurinn á kamrinum, ríður öllum öllunum, ríður þeim í rass, segir síðan pass.
You have to translate.
No, no.
That was a rude
very
Icelandic song.
That was a very rude song.
I learned it while I was in the Boy Scouts.
First time,
Yeah, it was-
MTV, rude Icelandic song.
What is more ruder than a Boy Scout?
Song,
This is a riddle.
Well,
a
what...
Girl Scout.
Jolly good. Well, we've got time just really to say goodbye. You've got an album due out fairly shortly,
Yes,
I believe.
life's too good.
Life's Too Good. Is this the definitive Sugarcube statement?
No,
Yes.
it's our
For
great...
today.
Yeah,
For
for
today.
today. Because we like the alcoholics, one day at a time.
Okay.
We cope with every day as it comes, only one day at a time.
Okay. Plans? Are you planning to tour? Are you coming
We-
back to...
Yes, we start in Britain on 11th of May till the 19th or 20th of May, and then we...
And it's to America.
Great stuff.
And then to Europe,
Okay.
and then to Iceland.
My kid is going to receive a pink birthday cake in June in the States.
From the States?
Yep.
In the States.
In the States. He's going with
He's
you?
going to eat
Two
it there.
candles on it.
Yes, he's coming.
Well, look, thank you so much for coming on MTV. We certainly wish you all the best. I hope the album goes well and the
Thank you,
tour
Pip.
is a big success, and we may see you again sometime.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's it from Expo. Ciao.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling.